Welcome, everyone, to the seventh episode, I believe, of these YouTube live chats where I talk about teaching concepts, practicing concepts, music concepts in general. My name is Michael Stegner. I'm a musician, piano teacher, and writer of methods and things like that. Producer, mixer. I kind of wear a lot of hats. So welcome for those of you who've never seen this before, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching again. I'd like to hear from you in the comments or in the chat. If you have questions, feel free and leave them in the chat or the comments, and I will get to them. I'll either make a new video in response or answer in the comments. Excuse me, if that's more appropriate. So today I want to do just one kind of practice tip that I use a lot when I teach and when I practice that I think has a huge benefit. Actually kind of came across this when I was practicing something once, and I couldn't really believe how much of a difference it made to step back and do the thing that I'm going to cover today. The idea is that a lot of times when we're practicing something really difficult, or it doesn't have to be really difficult, just something that we need some time to work out. The more we practice it, the more we get detached from all of our senses. So, for example, if we practice a passage a lot, we might start becoming really dependent on muscle memory because we've hit a certain amount of repetitions where the muscle memory is kind of guiding us. Or if we're reading something over and over and over again, we just get so dependent on reading it. We actually, in a way, get further away from memorizing or playing it without the music. I don't usually use the word memorize when I teach, but I'm using it for the sake of convenience, since that's what everybody else says usually who teaches music. So if you want to play without the music, then the more you focus, hyper focus on this section that you're working on, sometimes it can take us further and further away from actually being able to play that piece eventually without the music. So when we go to play without music, it's this whole other process. Sometimes our ears don't stay active with each repetition. We kind of start to block out the sound we're creating. So that's what I want to talk about today. I think that the revelation I had when I was practicing once and led me to start to teach more this way and practice this way myself is that when I hit a certain amount of repetitions on this piece, I felt myself not improving as much as I felt like I should have been. And I was right. I wasn't progressing the way I was the first few repetitions, but I kept doing it over and over and over again, because that's kind of what we do a lot of times when we practice. So so I just wanted to make sure that I was more engaged and I was still growing at the same rate. And I had this thought that was somewhat kind of embarrassing really to admit this, but I thought to myself, I don't know what the time length was, but let's say I've been playing this one thing for 30 minutes straight, and I thought to myself, if I just had on a streaming service of music like Spotify, or just if I put a song on repeat that I had on my hard drive that I liked, or some artist that I liked released a new new release and I listened to it on repeat for 30 minutes, I'd probably be able to sing along with, if not the whole thing, most of it. Even if it was kind of complicated, 30 minutes hearing the same thing over and over is a long time. So I just realized that I had practiced this passage over and over for 30 minutes, but my ear kind of like lost interest. I wasn't listening to what I was playing as much as maybe I was the first few repetitions. Therefore, there was this divide starting to happen between what my hands were doing, maybe my visual understanding of the piece as I was reading it, or my theory understanding if I was trying to like process what the information was asking me to do. There was like that stuff was moving, forward at some rate based on the repetitions I was putting in. But then when my ears kind of checked out and I wasn't paying attention, because I think I got bored on that front, because I just kept hearing the same thing over and over, the ears kind of fell behind all these other elements that I just mentioned. So one thing that I've been doing a lot lately with students and myself that's made a huge difference and can be kind of humbling, but in a very good way, in a very productive way, is mix up your repetitions with some ear involvement. I use singing. That's to me the easiest way to make sure that you're getting your ear involved with every repetition. And then if your ear's involved, your ear can start to guide your hands. And I mean, I've always felt the fastest students I've taught, the ones who learn the quickest, are the ones who do everything ear first, and then they understand everything else kind of in time. So maybe their fingerings are a little shaky, but their ear can guide them to the right notes, then they work out their fingerings. Or their ears are solid, their ears hear something, and they don't understand the theory, but it's okay, like, because their ears are guiding them, then the theory will make sense over time. But in the meantime, they're still sounding good. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to just give you one example today that you can apply towards pretty much anything. I had a student this week just working on like simple blues and also like how to transpose melodies within the blues. So this I'm going to use the blues, but obviously you could do this with classical. I have my classical students do the same idea where they transpose a melody around the chord progression of the piece or whatever. So this isn't really genre or style or era specific. You can do this on anything. So let's just say, let me flip the camera here, and let's just say we should have the overhead now. Let's just say that we're going to play the blues, and we're working on taking just a simple melody. Let's just say C blues, and we take a simple melody like this and transpose it to the 4 chord and back to the 1 if we're doing a C blues. So let's say we do that, and let's say this is really new for us, and this is a lot of work to kind of keep that straight. Maybe you've only improvised on the blues scale, or maybe all of this is new. So once we do this, I'd say like kind of set like a ratio of like 3 to 1. Once you do that 3 times, that should be enough time there's 2, 3. Okay, so if you've played it that many times and you've heard it that many times in a row, you should start to like have it stuck in your ear, like an earworm in a popular song. Ba, ba. If you try to go ba and you can't find that note, then that means that we're probably not listening to what we're doing with all those repetitions. Or it means that when you go to make that transposition, you're probably not going to feel that solid on it, because if you can't anticipate the sound you're trying to create, then you're gonna always feel a little shaky. We've all been there before, where we can play through a piece, and maybe we play through it really well, but internally it never feels totally solid. That's not a fun feeling, because a lot of us know our when we get into a performance situation, some not so great things happen when we have that feeling where we're a little shaky on things. So the fourth time, ba 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 ba. Okay, so you see what I did? I just sang it, and then we go back and we just check ourselves and maybe do 3-to-1, 3 more times this way, etc. So 3 times of that, then sing again. And then you can start adding notes. So what if you want to go... do that 3 times, and ba ba dum, ba ba dum, ba ba dum. Okay, so you see how I'm doing that. I'm just alternating. And like I said, not every time, although if I really was struggling with the singing part, if there's more going on, let's say there's more going on than we're just not paying attention to ourselves, like I mentioned earlier. Let's say you actually have a really hard time hearing those melodies. Then you may want to change the ratio to like a 1-to-1, like play it once, sing it once, play it once, sing it once. And then a really good way to change it up and to really test yourself is to reverse it. Try to sing it, say 3 times in a row, and then play it once. Only give yourself 1 shot at playing it, and see if the singing it 3 times in a row leads to you being able to play it first try without having to ramp up several repetitions. You can get really creative with this. There's so much potential here. And I think a lot of times we have a lot of insecurity around singing, especially if there are other people around. We don't like to be going, it's just embarrassing to us, like just hunting and pecking with our voice. For some reason, we have a lot more comfort in playing wrong notes on the keyboard than we do not being able to sing the right note. So you kind of got to work through that and just not care so much. Just let it rip and be wrong if you need to be wrong. So anyway, this is a very, very simple, straightforward concept that has huge benefits. And again, it's not just the blues. We can do this over any piece we're working on. Just at some point, give yourself a little playing break and just try to sing it. I mean, if you're playing, say, a Bach convention, maybe you play through it a few times, one little passage, and then the next time maybe you sing the right hand part, don't play the right hand part, and then play the left hand part against it and see if you can hold the right hand part with your voice. And then if you can do that, then switch, play the right hand, and then sing the left hand against it without playing the left hand. You can imagine that if you could do that all the way through an invention or anything really classical, the idea of memorizing a piece or playing from memory would just kind of be like a non-issue, because you would be able to totally play through the whole thing without the music probably pretty easily. Plus, you just there's so many benefits. You learn the piece a lot quicker. If 6 months after you did your performance on the piece, if you need to dust it back off and play it again, if you can still sing it or even get close to singing the whole thing, it'll take you a fraction of the time to dust it off and play it at a really high level. It should be higher level because of course we're always improving. So even though you haven't played it in a while, you should be able to improve on it. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Like I said earlier, leave comments, and I will check them and hopefully answer some questions with other videos or with a reply in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, my name is Michael Stegner. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe, all that stuff. I think if you subscribe and hit the little bell, you get a notification next time I go live with one of these. And hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes.